We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello dear students, myself Dr. Damayanti Ji Badgha, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department from S.N. Patel Institute of Technology and Research Center, Umrah, Babin, having Institute Code 049 and college managed by Vidya Bharati Trust Institution. Today we are going to learn topic Coplanar Concurrent Forces Law of Parallelogram under your subject Mechanics of Solids, subject code 3130608 for B third semester Civil Engineering branch. Coplanar concurrent forces. This topic is come under many branches of engineering in different subject code. So today we are going to coplanar concurrent forces. So before discuss this topic in detail, first we have to focus on force. So what is force? An agent which produces or tends to produce, destroy or tends to destroy motion of a body is called force. Unit of force is Newton and it is denoted by N, capital N. Force is a vector quantity that we discussed in our previous lecture of introductory part. Now this is a Newton and so if we'll call 1 Newton force. So what do you mean by 1 Newton force? Here I mention a force which can produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in a mass of 1 kilogram is called 1 Newton force. Now 1 kgf force. So what do you mean by 1 kgf force? Please focus over here. A force which can produce an acceleration of 1 gram per second square. Here you can see gravitational acceleration in a mass of 1 kg is called 1 kgf force. 1 kgf is equal to 1.81 Newton. Now, what are the characteristics of force that we have to focus and understand with these different terms? Following are the characteristics of a force. First, if we'll call magnitude. So, magnitude of a force may be 10 kilonewton, 50 kilonewton, 200 newton, etc. Direction. So, it may be along OX towards north at 30 degree west of north in such direction. If we'll call about nature under characteristic of force, then the nature of force may be tensile or compressive force, or we can say push force or pull force. Here figure is there, you can see one surface is there is a body, force is in that direction P, this is tensile force, we can say it's a pull. Here you can say that one body is there, from outward the force is applied on that body, this is in that direction towards body. So we can say that here P is equal to compressive force, push force. Now fourth is point of application. So what is point of application? Point of application is the point at which the force acts on the body. Now if we will focus about the various type of forces, then there are different type of forces, we will go through that. First one, contact force, or we can say surface force. So based on that word, you can easily understand what we have to understand under contact force and surface force. It is defined as the force produced by direct contact of bodies. It may be pull type or it may be push type of force. For example, the weight force exerted by one body laying over the another body. Force exerted by air on an aeroplane. Okay. Now second one, body force. This is also self understood from the word. The force produced without contact of the bodies is called body force. It is the force which holds together the particles forming the rigid body. For example, if a force P is applied on a body, the body will develop internal resistance which is called as capital R, means denoted by capital R. This R is called as body force. Here you can see figure, one body is there is P force in that direction, P force in that direction. Okay, here as per the discussed matter you can say here internal resistance created. Okay, so other example of body force we will consider. Then first one is gravitational force. So what is gravitational force? It is the force exerted by the earth on a body. It does not require any medium. It is always directed vertically downwards. Now second one, magnetic force and electric force. Forces developed between two magnetically charged bodies are called magnetic force. Forces developed between two electrically charged bodies, this is called as electrical force. Or now we will go with the point forces and distributed forces. Okay, so from word itself we can easily understand, but for exam point of view, for understanding point of view, to provide technical data we will go through the terms. So first term, point force. The force acting at a point is called point force. When the force acts on very small area compared to total surface area, it can be considered as point force. For example, force exerted by a man standing on a platform, force exerted by tires of a car on the road. Now we'll talk about distributed force. From word itself we can understand, but for more clarification we will see, when force is distributed over large area it is called distributed force. For example, force exerted by water tank resting on the ground. Now external force and internal force. From word itself we can understand, but for more clarification, the force exerted by weight of block A W on block B is external force on B, while the resistance offered by block B to retain its shape is called internal force. A force is considered internal or external depending upon the boundary of the body. Now action and reaction, this is very important thing. We already studied in Newton's third law in our previous lecture. So here I clearly mention under action and reaction. As per Newton's third law, whenever a body exerts force, means action, on another body, the other body exerts similar force on the former body, known as reaction. Here you can see block A, block B, both the bodies try to exert forces. Here you can see R is equal to W, here W is there. So W is action, R is reaction. So as per that, from figure you can easily understand action and reaction as per Newton's third law. Now friction or friction force. When a body slides over or tends to slide on a surface on which it is resting, a resisting force opposing the motion is produced at the contact surface. This resisting force is called friction or friction force. You can observe over here, There is external force is there. There is a frictional force. There is body here clearly mentioned. P and F, where P is external force and F is frictional force. Now what is wind force? The force exerted by wind when it is obstructed by a body is called wind force. Now hydrostatic force. It is the force exerted by water on a body when it is obstructed by a body. Now cohesion. It is the force, or we can say attraction, developed between molecules of same material. Example, attraction between molecules of mercury. Adhesion. It is the force attraction developed between molecules of different materials. For example, attraction between molecules of glass and water. Now thermal force. These are the forces developed due to heating or cooling of bodies. Now, if we will talk about mass and weight, then mass is denoted by small m, weight is denoted by W. So here, if we'll talk about mass and if we'll compare or differentiate, then mass is the matter contained in a body. Weight, it is the gravitational force acting at a center of gravity of a body. If we'll talk about mass, then mass is a scalar quantity that we discussed in our previous lecture. Weight is a vector quantity that also we discussed in previous lecture. Third, SI unit of mass is kg and SI unit of W is Newton or kilonewton that we discussed in our previous lecture. So here, as per that discussion and as per our previous lecture and basic fundamental knowledge, we can say W is equal to mg, where W is a weight in Newton, mass m is equal to mass in kilogram, and g gravitational force is 9.81 meter per second square. Now if we'll talk about different systems of forces, then under system of forces there are many forces. Okay, when two or more forces act on a body, they are called to form a system of forces. These are coplanar forces, concurrent forces, collinear forces, coplanar, concurrent forces, collinear forces, coplanar concurrent forces, coplanar non-concurrent forces, non-coplanar concurrent forces, non-coplanar non-concurrent forces, like and unlike parallel forces, and spatial forces. So under system of force, we will discuss about the coplanar force. Here one image, one figure 1 is there, one plane is there. Under that you can see forces P1, P2 and P3. So try to focus system of forces. When two or more forces act on a body, they are called to form a system of forces. But we are here discussing coplanar forces. Plane is there, three forces are there in that plane. So if we talk with regard to this term and this figure, then the forces whose line of action lie on the same plane are known as coplanar forces. Means from figure you can see it's the same plane, one plane is only there, and under that one plane three different forces. So it's the coplanar forces. Here forces P1, P2 and P3 are coplanar forces. Co means same, planar means along a plane. Now we will talk about concurrent forces. So here you can see the figure. The forces which meet at one point are known as concurrent forces. As per that you can see force P1, P2, P3 are meeting at a one point. Forces P1, P2, P3 are concurrent forces. Now what is collinear forces? You can see one plane here. You can see one line is there. On that line many forces are there in different directions. So the forces whose line of action lie on the same line are known as collinear forces. Forces P1, P2, P3 are collinear forces. Now coplanar concurrent forces. Here plane is there. Force P1, P2, P3. Okay. So the forces which meet at one point and their line of action also lie on the same plane are known as coplanar concurrent forces. Forces P1, P2, P3 are coplanar concurrent forces. This is clearly mentioned in this figure. But if we'll talk about coplanar non-concurrent forces, then you just observe this figure. Here figure A is there, figure B is there. Here you can see P1 force in that direction. You just follow and see that red laser. P1 in that direction, P2 in upward direction. Here again P3 in that direction, P4 in downward direction. Here you can say it's a A, it's a B. Okay, here one beam element type of structure is there, simply supported. Here R1 is there in upward direction, R2 in upward direction, then W1 and W2 in downward direction. Okay, so as per that figure and as per the term, if we will discuss, then the forces whose line of action lie on the same plane but they do not meet at one point are known as coplanar non-concurrent forces. Now non-coplanar concurrent forces. Okay, so as per that word we can easily understand, because now we already discussed about many forces. So based on that, from that word you can understand what is non-coplanar concurrent forces. But though we will go with the basic definition. The forces whose line of action do not lie on the same plane but they meet at one point are called non-coplanar concurrent forces. Okay, please focus over here, then focus on that term. Here different plane is there. For force P1 is in one plane, P2 is another plane, P3 is another plane. So all the plane is different. Okay, but they are meeting at one similar, one common point. Okay, so from figure also we can understand non-coplanar concurrent forces. Okay, now non-coplanar non-concurrent forces, you can see that figure. Plane are different, plan are different, forces are in different directions. The forces whose line of action do not lie on the same plane and they do not meet at one point are known as non-coplanar non-concurrent forces. So by observing the figure we can easily understand non-coplanar concurrent forces and non-coplanar non-concurrent forces. Now like parallel force, the forces whose line of action are parallel to each other and all of them act in the same direction are known as like parallel force. You can see the figure. Here you can see as per that definition. Here you can see all the forces. Okay, all the forces are parallel in same direction, so they are like parallel forces. Now unlike parallel forces, so you can see that figure. Here that force in other direction, that force is in opposite direction. Here you can see, please observe that red laser, that forces are in other direction, that both forces are in other direction. Here same thing. So the forces whose line of action are parallel to each other but all them do not act in the same direction are known as unlike parallel forces. Now what is spatial forces? Forces acting in the space are known as spatial forces. Now spatial concurrent forces, the forces acting in space but meeting at one point are known as spatial concurrent forces. Example, forces acting in the string of parachute. 12. Spatial non-concurrent forces like force system. This type of force system consists of forces acting in space but are parallel and act in same direction. Example, forces in column of building. Now 13. Spatial non-concurrent forces unlike force system. So in that case, this type of force system consists of forces acting in space parallel but act in opposite direction. Now if we talk about and discuss about principle of superposition of forces, then please observe this figure. Block is there, forces are acting in these bodies. So here you just focus. It states if two equal opposite collinear forces are added to or removed from the system of forces, there will be no change in the system and position of the bodies. Here in that block you can see P1 100 Newton acting at A, that I clearly mention over here. This is mentioned in figure 2. If two equal opposite and collinear forces, okay, so you can say that both the forces are equal and opposite, P3 and P2 both are equal, 150 Newton, both are equal but in opposite direction. You can see both are in opposite direction. So P2 is equal to P3 is equal to 150 Newton are added at point B, where there will be no change in the position of this body. If we talk about principle of transmissibility of forces, then you can see that image. Block is there, here A and B is there, one force P is exerted over here. You can see A, B, same block, but here you can see force over here, and here in that second image that force is over here. So if we try to focus, then principle of transmissibility of forces will be, it states if a force acts at any point on a rigid body, it may also be considered to act at any other point on its line of action, provided the point is rigidly connected with the body. Here you can see figure A, push type force P resulting into forward motion of block, right? Here block is there, pull force, pull type force, you can see over here, pull type force P resulting into forward motion of block. So in both the cases what is the same? Forward motion of block, but here push type force, here pull type force. According to principle of transmissibility of forces, a force acting on a rigid body can be shifted along its line of action. A push force can be converted into a pull force. Means nature of force can be changed. This principle is valid for rigid body only. By shifting the force, only the state of the body remains same, but the internal stresses are definitely changed. Now we'll discuss about the resultant forces. Then you just observe on this figure 1, here forces acting at O. Here P1 is there, P2 is there, P3 is there, some resultant R is there, here in opposite direction R dash is there, P2 is there, some theta is there in this figure. Here if you will see force polygon from that figure, then force P1 is there, P2 is there, P3 is there, whatever you observe resultant R, so that is connected that line, so resultant R is there. Okay, so if a number of forces P1, P2, P3, P4, etc. are acting simultaneously on a particle, it is possible to find out a single force which could replace them, like which would produce the same effect as produced by all the given forces. The single force capable of producing same effect on a body is known as resultant force. The given force is P1, P2, P3, P4, etc. are called component forces. R is the resultant of three concurrent forces P1, P2 and P3. Theta is the angle of resultant with P1, that things I discussed in that figure. So if we talk about equilibrium force, then to balance the resultant force to bring the body in equilibrium, a force of same magnitude but of opposite direction is required. This opposite balancing force is called equilibrium force. In figure 1, means in previous figure, R is the resultant force and R dash is equilibrium force. Now, composition of forces. The process of finding out resultant force of a number of given force is called composition of forces. So what are the method of resultant force? Okay, so the methods are analytical method and graphical method. So under analytical method there are three methods. First is parallelogram law of forces. Second, resolution of forces. Third, triangle law of forces. Under graphical method, triangle law of forces and polygon law of forces. Now, if we will discuss about parallelogram law of forces, then from figure you can easily understand, but we will discuss. It states if two forces acting simultaneously on a particle be represented in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, the resultant may be represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of parallelogram which passes through their point of intersection. So from that figure you can easily understand resultant is there, different forces are there, theta is there, alpha is there, based on the trigonometry there is a q cos theta, q sin theta. So here from that figure and from that discussion, resultant R is equal to in under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta as per that, where R is resultant force. So R is equal to in under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta as per that figure. So tan alpha will be q sin theta upon p plus q cos theta, where R is equal to resultant force, theta is equal to angle between P and Q, alpha is equal to angle between P and R. You can easily understand the theta, angle and R from this figure where you can observe red laser. So if we'll go for the proof, then this figure 1, you see in triangle ODC, can you see ODC, that triangle is there, okay? Okay, so it is a right angle, ODC is a right angle, right? So here OC square is equal to OD square plus DC square, that we learned in our school time, okay? So here you can see OC square is equal to OD square plus DC square. So OC square is equal to OA plus AD, whole bracket is complete, whole square plus DC square. Here you can see OA plus AD whole square plus DC square. So OC square is equal to P plus Q cos theta whole square plus Q sin theta square. Why? You can see over here AD is equal to Q cos theta, DC is equal to Q sin theta. Okay, here already mentioned OC is equal to resultant R. We know cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1, that we know. So here if we will simplify that, then OC square means OC is equal to R. So R square will be, if we will simplify, so it's a P square plus 2PQ cos theta plus Q square. Okay, Q square cos square theta. Then here q sine theta whole square, so it will be q square sine square theta. It will simplify again. So r square is equal to p square plus 2pq cos theta plus q square common in between these two terms and cos square theta plus sine square theta, it will be 1. So as per that, what we have, r square is equal to p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. If we'll get only r, then that term will come under root. So r is equal to in under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. So it is very simple based on some mathematical fundamental knowledge. So based on that, the angle alpha which the resultant makes with P can be obtained as tan alpha is equal to CD upon OD. Okay, so OD, what is that? OA plus AD, and here CD. So CD Q sine theta, which was already mentioned in figure, and OA plus AD means P plus Q cos theta as per the figure. Therefore tan alpha is equal to Q sine theta upon P plus Q cos theta. So it is very simple. Now under that fundamental of parallelogram law of forces, we will go through few examples. So try to focus on that. Example based on parallelogram of forces. Here data is there. Try to focus on data. Two tensile forces 50 kilonewton and 40 kilonewton acting at a point with angle 60 degree between them. Find magnitude and direction of the resultant. Dear students, whenever in exam or in your lecture, in your classes, any problem is given to calculate, so first read the data properly, try to find what is given and what you have to find. So we'll read data. Two tensile forces, so you can see that two tensile forces 50 kilonewton, 40 kilonewton acting at a point. So as per that, you mention that two tensile forces acting at a point. Here given that with angle 60, so you make angle 60 between that two tensile forces. You have to find magnitude and direction. Okay, so what data is given? P is given 50 kilonewton, Q is given 40 kilonewton, theta is given 60 degree. So based on our theory and fundamentals, we can say R is equal to in under root P square plus Q square plus 2pq cos theta. So under that we have to put our value, right? Under that we have to put our value now. That equation is there. So P will be 50, Q will be 40 and theta is 60. So based on that we put our whatever data is given, 50 square plus 40 square plus 2 into 50 into 40 cos 60. So as per that we got in under root 6100. Therefore R is equal to 78.10 kilonewton, and it is very simple. Now based on that figure we have to find tan alpha. We know the equation as per our theory. So Q sine theta upon P plus Q cos theta is equal to whatever data we have that we put in that. So as per that we will get 0.495. So tan alpha will be 0.495. So we need alpha. So alpha will be tan inverse 0.495 and we will get the angle 26.33 degree. Angle of R with P, here alpha is 26.33 degree. So you can see it's very easy and simple. Now we will go with the another problem. Determine the resultant of two concurrent forces 100 kilonewton compressive and 80 kilonewton tensile acting at a point with angle between them is 60. Also find angle made by resultant with 80 kilonewton force. So in previous problem I told, try to read data properly. Based on that, try to understand what is given and what we have to find. So as per given data, you can see that two forces are there. There are concurrent forces. Okay, one force is 100 kilonewton, second force is 80 kilonewton, and between them angle is 60 degree. Okay, so here based on that we can say there is a 100 kilonewton is there, then 80 kilonewton load is there, here 60 angle. So if we can say the remaining portion, okay, so that will be 180. if we will consider, then here 90 and here 90, but here 60 degree angle is there. So if we consider, it's a 180. So 180 minus 60, so that angle between P and Q in that direction, okay, in that the angle theta will be 180 minus 60, 120. This is resultant R, and the angle between R and P, alpha. So here you can see P is equal to 100 kilonewton compressive force is converted into tensile force as per principle of transmissibility. Okay, therefore angle between two tensile force P and Q is equal to theta is equal to 180 minus 60 is equal to 120 degree. Whatever I told before, this already I mentioned, I written over here. Okay, so P will be 100 kilonewton, Q will be 80 kilonewton, and theta will be 120 degree. So as per that figures and whatever theories we derived, as per that we know R is equal to in under root P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Now we have to put our values in that. Okay, so we will put the value of P, the value of Q and theta. So 100 square in under root 100 square plus 80 square plus 2 into 100 into 80 into cos 120. So your answer R will be in under root 8400. Okay, so here only R will be 91.65 kilonewton. You can easily calculate it from your simple calculator. Now we know tan alpha is equal to Q sin theta upon P plus Q cos theta. We have to put the value of P, value of Q over here, value of theta, value of theta. So 80 sin 120 upon 100 plus 80 cos 120. If we'll simplify that, then 69.28 upon 60, and tan alpha will be 1.154. But we need only alpha. So alpha will be tan inverse 1.154. So we will get alpha 49.10 degree. Okay. So remaining portion will be that. So angle of R with Q will be 120 minus 49.10. So it will be 70.90 degree. Now here another problem is there. Based on that, this type of problem many times asked in different competitive exams also, in GATE also, and in your exams also. Okay, so it is very important and very interesting. So focus over here. Find the angle between two equal concurrent forces P when the resultant is also equal to P. You can see force P, Q, origin O is there, and its resultant R is there. Okay, so here as per the data, P is equal to P, Q is equal to P, and R is also equal to P. Okay, so we have P. What is that P? P is R. Okay, so if we'll consider R, then R is equal to in under root P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Okay, so if we'll consider R as a P, right? So P is equal to in under root P square plus 2P into P cos theta. Why all P? Because we know that P is equal to P, Q is equal to P, and R is also equal to P. So based on that, P will be P, Q will be P. Here P will be P only, but Q is also P. So here in under root P square plus 2P into P cos theta. If we simplify, then in under root 2P square plus 2P square cos theta. 2P square will be common in next step. So in under root 2P square multiply in bracket 1 plus cos theta. So if we'll again simplify, if we'll remove that under root, then here we have to power 2. Okay, so P square is equal to 2P square in bracket 1 plus cos theta. So here again we have to remove square. Okay, so here 1/2 is equal to 1 plus cos theta. Here P square will be cancelled. Okay, so based on that simplification, 1/2 will be there now. So 1/2 is equal to 1 plus cos theta. Therefore cos theta will be minus 0.5. So theta will be cos inverse 0.5. Okay, Therefore, theta is equal to 120 degree. This is your answer. So dear students, today in our lecture we focus on many types of force, many types of law and problems based on parallelogram forces. So I hope in this lecture you understand a lot. Whatever I want to discuss with you regarding that topic, that I clearly mention in my PPT. So you can read well, you can prepare well. Our lecture is completed over here today, but in next lecture I will come with new topic and new theories. Till that, study well, stay safe, take care and all the very best.